Hi everyone, Mary here. I made a video that I just posted about my phone interview that I had with the Disney College program and said that I was going to make a video all about the character audition that I did, but I never actually got around to doing that. So I wanted to kind of go over how that went. It's going to be a pretty basic thing because there's not a whole lot that I can tell you about it, specifically choreography-wise and everything. But, what I do remember and everything, I auditioned last... when was it? It was March. It was last St. Patrick's Day is when I auditioned for the character role. So I wanted to kind of give a little bit of a debriefing about how that went. What happened, I lived in Pennsylvania, and so what I ended up doing was I auditioned for it in Columbus, Ohio. When I got there, there were about 200 people there. So one of my number one tips, get there early. I got there about an hour and a half early to kind of check in and get the surroundings and everything, and I was like, I have an hour and a half, I'll have time, so I left, and I came back literally half an hour later, and there were 150 people in front of me, and I could have been like number 3. So, it doesn't really matter when you get there. I'm going to be honest, a lot of people at times they'll say go right at the beginning or right at the end. It doesn't really matter because they get your picture, they have information about you, you go in groups of like 5 or 6, which I'll get to. But get there early, definitely. Start warming up, start stretching, start getting to know people. It's really nice if you go audition with people, and it really helps if you get to know people that are in your group, or at least people that are right around you. I didn't audition with anybody. I went by myself to the audition, and I was really nervous, and I was alone, but luckily there were a couple girls that were right around me, and a couple guys, and we got to talking, and we got to kind of know each other, and so we were there the whole time for each other. What happened first was they divided us into 2 groups of 100, approximately 100, give or take, a couple kids, and I was in the second group. And so we waited in one dance studio while the other 100 kids went out into the other dance studio, and we were in there for probably 45 minutes to an hour. We were in there for a really long time for the first part of the audition. Because what happens is there's 2 to 3 phases. The first phase is just a really basic choreography routine. It's step touches, grapevines, snapping, and smiling, and skipping, and stuff like that. Very, very Disney, very adorable, pretty simple if you have a basic coordination. That's really what they're testing for, is just basic coordination. So while the first group was doing that, we were all in the one group, and after probably 30 minutes or so, someone finally stands up and is like, okay guys, I was a camp counselor, so we're going to get to know each other. So definitely take initiative. If you are in, the group that isn't participating first, or if you're waiting for the second group to go, get something started, get kind of knowing each other, because then there's icebreakers, and you feel so much more relaxed, and it's really great. When I got in there, we learned a couple counts of 8, maybe 4 counts of 8 that we did a couple times over in groups of 4, and it's an across-the-floor exercise, and they just want to see if you can move, have basic coordination, if you're smiley, if you're happy, if you're really excited to be there kind of thing. And then they eliminated probably about half of us. There were probably about 100 of us left after that point. The next part of it, I really can't go into a lot of detail about because, they change the choreography every year, so it wouldn't help anyways. I don't really remember it. And I can't, I just can't really give it away, but it got more complex as the routine went on. There were probably like 32 to 40 some odd counts of 8. I don't know. It was a legitimate choreographed dance routine. It was longer. It got harder. It started off pretty simple with some kickball changes, and by the end of it, you were doing laterals, and you were doing bicycle kicks, and you were doing a lot of other things. If you're not a dancer, if you haven't been taking dance, that's fine. Go to the audition, because you are still going to have an amazing experience. If you even have limited experience, the girl who was in my group with me hasn't had any dance experience, and I've had 5 years of ballet. And even then, there were girls that were just kicking my butt. There were girls that had been doing dance since they were born and were, 17, 18, 19 years old. So definitely, don't be intimidated by them. They're there to help you. Honestly, some girls, there was one spot I couldn't get, and there was a girl that was kicking butt and taking names, and I honestly, I just went over to her and I was like, hey, can you show me how to do this? And she was like, yeah, no problem, honey. Help me out. Everything was great, and I got that much better with the routine. So, yeah, so that's pretty much how that went. Definitely make friends with your group. They're going to put you in groups of 5 to 6 at that point, and you're going to go into a separate room once everyone has, the choreography down. I'm going to go into groups of 5 or 6, and you're going to go and work on the dance not work on the dance, but perform the dance for the choreographer and then the head of recruitment. Along with a dance routine, you're going to have like a pantomiming, because one of the things you're auditioning for is a character. You might get asked, again, if you look like one of the princesses or you look like someone that belongs in the Disney world, a face character is what they call them, they will ask you about it. They'll get your height, your measurements to see if you would fit costumes and things like that. But what you need to understand, which I didn't know going in, and I'm glad they told us, is that if you're auditioning for this part, even if you just want to be a face character, you're going to be spending time in a costume no matter what. And when you're in the costume, you can't use words. It's all pantomiming, and you have to play with kids, and you have to explain different things, and, all that stuff. And so that's a big piece of what you do, and you have to pantomime for, how many is it? 32 counts of music you're pantomiming. They give you a scenario, and you pantomime it. And then you go into, and you do the dance routine twice. So you pantomime twice, do the dance routine twice. Other than that, that's pretty much what I can say. If you have any questions, feel free to respond down below in the comments, or you can message me or anything like that. Definitely, if I get a lot of feedback, I'll try and answer some more of your questions in another video. If not, all I can say is go have an amazing time. Like, audition. And if you don't get a character part or anything like that, it's not the end of the world. You might still get hired somewhere else, and even if you don't, just come back in the next year, and just keep trying, because if it's meant to be, you'll definitely get there, and you'll get better at it, and you'll get more confident. And it was honestly one of the best days of my life. It was such an incredible experience, and I met great people. So just, go out, go do it, have an amazing time. Don't worry about anything. Just go full force into it. Wear comfortable clothing. I will put that out there. Dance shoes if you have them. If not, tennis shoes are totally fine. I would not recommend just socks, but I would never recommend that for anybody, because you're going to slip and fall and hurt yourself. Nobody wants that. So just, wear some comfortable shoes, dance shoes, yoga pants, sweats, t-shirts, whatever. Don't wear a dress. I mean, you could wear a dress if you wanted to, but something you can move in, something you're comfortable in. So yeah, that's really all I have to say. So if you're watching this and you're going to go audition to be a character, I wish you all the luck in the world and so much more. I know you're going to have an amazing time and have a magical day. Thank you. Bye.